Starting things off with the last day of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, where Vice President Kamala Harris will officially accept the 2024 presidential nomination. Last night, Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, took the stage to accept his nomination for vice president. Also on the convention stage last night, there were passionate speeches from Democratic leaders such as former President Bill Clinton, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, each making the case for Vice President Harris. Oprah Winfrey also delivered remarks championing independent and undecided voters and urging them to focus on values at the ballot box come November.
In 2024, we got a pretty clear choice, it seems to me. Kamala Harris for the people, and the other guy who's proved even more than the first go-around that he's about me, myself, and I.
I know that Vice President Harris is ready to take us to new heights.
Soon and very soon, we're going to be teaching our daughters and sons about how this child of an Indian mother and a Jamaican father, two idealistic, energetic immigrants, how this child grew up to become the 47th President of the United States.
It's the honor of my life to accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States. It's the fourth quarter. We're down a field goal, but we're on offense and we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. And boy, do we have the right team. Kamala Harris is tough. Kamala Harris is experienced, and Kamala Harris is ready.
Joining me now with the latest from Chicago is senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. So Weijia, Governor Tim Walz delivered his speech last night. We saw a little bit of it. Got to introduce himself to America. How did he do?
And Marie, judging from the crowd reaction in that room, he did a great job introducing himself and really bringing his resume to life, leaning in to all of the things that we have heard about him, but using his own words to do it. As you know, he served in the National Guard. He was a football coach, a social studies teacher, a member of Congress, and he really framed this in a way that I think most people can relate to. He admitted that he didn't give speeches like this often, but he gave pep talks an awful lot as a former coach. And, you know, when he came out, one of the lines that stuck the most was, "You never underestimate a public school teacher." And Anne-Marie, in the crowd, I can tell you that, you know, people were holding signs that read Coach Walz. And there were many chants of Coach, Coach, Coach. And again, this is part of who he is, his personality. People have compared him to Ted Lasso because of his joyful nature, because of, you know, his happy-go-lucky way about him, but also because he has a track record of taking losing teams and making them champions, bringing them to states, whether it's football or track. And so it was pretty remarkable to hear him share all of this, including some deeply personal stories about his family, because his family used fertility treatments to conceive their two children. One of the most powerful moments of the night by far was when his son was bawling and he said, "That's my dad." And so, you know, these are all little pieces of who Tim Walz is. It's only one speech, but it was the speech of his political career. And I think that the reception is undeniable, Anne-Marie. It's, you know, still a big question whether this changes anything in the minds of undecided voters. But when it comes to the base and enthusiasm, I think that, you know, Democrats were charmed even more than they already were by Governor Walz.
Well, that's exactly what the Democrats needed to do because, you know, prior to this, there was a certain a tremendous lack of enthusiasm. But let me ask you, Vice President Kamala Harris, speaking of enthusiasm, is going to be speaking at the DNC tonight. What can we expect from her speech? Any intel for us?
So CBS News has learned that she has some key objectives in this speech. She wants to share her personal story with America so people know who she is, where she came from. She wants to draw a sharp contrast, which she's already been doing, between her and the ticket, against, I should say, former President Donald Trump and the Republicans. And then she'll talk about her vision for the future and proposals that she has, ideas that she has. Really, it's her opportunity to step way into the spotlight because even as vice president, she did have to give the president, Biden, a lot of space, right? So this is really her moment to shine. We know that she's been rewriting this for several weeks now. And so the pressure is on, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, indeed. Weijia, thank you so much. We're going to pivot on over to campaign reporter Shawna Mizelle, who's also standing by in Chicago for the DNC. And Shawna, you've really been focusing on some of the younger participants here. You spoke to the youngest delegates in the country at the DNC. How are they feeling about, their participation in this general election?
Anne-Marie, good morning. That's right. I spoke to the two youngest delegates in the country, Isaac and Beatrice. Now, Isaac will turn 18 just 3 days ahead of the election, and Beatrice 1 week before. Now, they were already signed up and in the process of being delegates before Biden stepped down and endorsed Harris, who is now the presumptive Democratic nominee. But the excitement that they had has only grown since then.
Wow, they're delegates before they've even had a chance to participate in their first election. That's pretty impressive. One of the delegates that you spoke to about voter engagement, especially when it comes to young people. At the DNC, they had all these influencers there. I want to play a little of the sound that you got.
I think young voters definitely need to be more involved. We are the future, and the policy decisions that are enacted now will affect us more than anyone else. So it is time that we use our voice to give thought to issues that matter to us and solutions that we think will impact our future in the greatest way.
So having influencers at the DNC is one thing, but, especially, a young person like that wants to know about the issues and how they're going to be impacting them. How have Democrats been doing in terms of educating and informing younger voters about what they plan to do if they are able to get into the White House?
Well, Isaac is one of the younger delegates, and he really represents the younger electorate. When we look at the polling, younger voters care about different issues. For Isaac, his top issue is health care. He has type 1 diabetes, as does his mother, and so health care is going to be at the top of the mind for him. But you have seen the Democratic Party out on apps like TikTok really seeking to connect, engage with young voters.
All right, Shawna, thank you very much.
Thanks, Anne-Marie.